of AICTE, Professor Punia with us. And we have invited in today's program Vice-Chancellors in the northwestern region of our country. This is the second program in the series on the National Higher Education Qualification Framework. We will have three presentations. I will speak initially, followed by Dr. Kalsi and then Professor Punia. And after that, we will have a brief question answer session in case you have any doubts about the National Higher Education Qualification Framework. Friends, while I welcome you, I would like you to recollect in which year the mobile number portability was introduced in our country. It was around 2011. What is the advantage of the mobile number portability? Well, you can retain your mobile number, but you can change the service provider. Before 2011, there was no such provision. So it was a big headache if you wanted to change the service provider, then your number itself would have changed. But today we don't have any such problem. And when you have a single number, you can go around anywhere across the globe. You can roam around, use the same number, but communicate using multiple service providers. You can communicate with anybody. It is such a beautiful system. You are mobile everywhere with one single number. Can we provide such a similar mobility to our students? Unfettered movement for the students between the institutions in a very, very convenient way. Between the streams, can we let them earn credits, not just only through the physical mode of teaching, learning, but also through online and distance education mode? Can they use different delivery modes, but still get the required qualifications? How nice it would be in the lives of the students if we can provide this kind of flexibility in their education. And in order to do that, we require multiple things. We require the academic bank of credits where the students can keep their credits. We need online education facilities such as the digital university that we are working on, and such as the modified online regulations that we are working on, so that many universities can offer online degrees, providing different modes of education to the students. And also, we have given the opportunity to students to do multiple degrees, double degrees at the same time, either in physical mode or in physical online mode, or only in online mode, 2 degrees simultaneously. Friends, the bottom line in the national education policy is to provide as many opportunities, as much freedom to the students as possible. And that is the reason why we are talking about the National Higher Education Qualification Framework. When we provide that kind of freedom to the students and multiple opportunities to the students, and in addition to these, we also have now foreign universities which will come up and set up their campuses in India, in the rest of the country, and in places like Gift City. So there are going to be multiple kinds of qualifications, programs, diverse programs, and different kinds of nomenclature, content, duration, and so on. Therefore, it's going to be very, very difficult for us in order to bring some kind of comparability among all these qualifications that our students will acquire in the coming years. So how to establish an equivalence and at the same time, how to provide more mobility to our students. And the solution that the National Education Policy has suggested for this is the National Higher Education Qualification Framework, so that there is a consistency, there is a synchronization that is brought across the institutions, across the programs, curriculums, the pedagogical approaches, and the assessment processes. And that's the reason why, friends, UGC and AICTE, the National Council for Vocational Education and Training, have worked together to bring a synchronized national higher education qualification framework. And the purpose of this meeting is to briefly look at some of the features of this NHEQF so that it becomes easier for all of you to implement in your respective universities and higher educational institutions. Just to summarize, we are bringing this NHEQF to establish equivalence among the kind of qualifications that they will get, whether it is certificates, diplomas, or degrees, and also to understand what are the competencies that are expected from a student if they have a particular qualification, and to enable the mobility of the students across the disciplines and institutions, and also make them more employable. And that's the reason why we are talking about the National Higher Education Qualification Framework. So we would like to harmonize, we would like to synchronize the Indian higher education system by converging these different qualifications that we have into a common qualification framework. And what is the reference point for this? The reference point is the learning outcomes. What is that a learner is expected to know for each qualification that he or she acquires, such as a certificate or a diploma or a degree, and so on. So what we have done in this National Higher Education Qualification Framework is we have divided this into 11 levels of competencies based on the learning outcomes. The school education is defined from level 1 to 4 when the students spend their years of schooling, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 years when they spend. Those are defined into level or levels, four levels. And then when they enter into the college, we begin at level 4.5, and from the first year of their undergraduate program, the students will progress step by step into PhD level, those who would like to do PhD. Then they reach level 8 in an ascending order based on the complexity of the knowledge, the skills, and the competencies, and also the values that they acquire as part of their education. So these learning outcomes ultimately lead to what is known as the graduate attributes. So what are the key elements for these graduate attributes? The knowledge that they acquire and the ability to understand what they learn. That is the first key attribute of the key element of the graduate attribute. And the skills that are required to be performed and the tasks that the students are expected to accomplish, and the application of the knowledge and the skills. They are also expected to possess constitutional, humanistic, ethical, and moral values, because ultimately we want our students to transform themselves into good human beings. Finally, of course, they should have employment-ready skills and entrepreneurial skills and the mindset. That's the ultimate goal of providing the qualifications to our students based on the learning outcomes. So I said the college education, after they finish the school education, when they enter the college, we divide that into different levels, 7 levels, level 4.5 to 5, 5.5, 6, 6.5, 7, and 8. And these are based on the complexities of the skills that they acquire as they move from one level to the other level. For example, when they enter the first year of their college, we expect them to acquire enough cognitive skills to analyze the information that they gather as part of their education. And as they move from the first year of their undergraduate degree, which is level 4.5, to second year, which is level 5, we expect them to develop both cognitive and technical skills to analyze the information that they are acquiring. And when they move to the third year of their undergraduate program, which is level 5.5, they are additionally required to have not just only the cognitive and technical skills to understand the information, but to analyze the complex ideas. And those who would like to go to the fourth year of their undergraduate education, because now we have the 4-year undergraduate program, then they are reaching level 6. And here they will have cognitive technical skills relating to the domain of their study, but they will also acquire the research methods and techniques, so that if they would like to pursue a future research career, they also acquire these competencies. And at this stage, the student will be leaving their college program with a 4-year degree program. But of course, at every level, the students can also exit and re-enter the program. For example, at level 4.5, if the student decides to leave the program, then they will get a certificate for the competencies that they have acquired. And when they want to leave the program at level 5, which is second year of their undergraduate program, then they will get a diploma. And at level 5.5, if they wish to leave, they get a 3 years degree. And if they continue up to level 6, then they get 4-year honors or 4-year honors with research. Because you know that there are 2 kinds of 4-year programs where they can complete only the coursework and finish level 6, or they can take research-oriented courses and then get a 4-year degree honors with research specialization. So you see that at every level, it is possible for the students to move from one institution to the other institution, or join in the same institution based on the credits they acquire at each level. And then at level 6.5, they will be doing their 1-year master's degree. Here, they will also conduct research as part of their 1-year master's degree. And then if they move further to level 7, then they can get degrees such as MTech, a 2-year MTech degree, or ME degree, or MS degree, they can acquire. And when they progress to level 8, this is where they will have not just only the cognitive and technical skills for conceptualizing and designing, but at this stage, they also know how to implement these ideas to generate new knowledge and become future scientists. So level 8 concludes the educational process of the students when they enter at level 4.5, first-year undergraduate degree, to level 8 to the PhD degree. Friends, as I mentioned, the National School Qualification Framework, NHEQF, it covers the entire gamut of the school education from level 1 to level 4, and the higher education covers 4.5 to 8. And this is where I would like to put before you the AICTE and the NCVET, they had these levels 4.5 to 8. But when UGC worked on this National Higher Education Qualification Framework, when it was put up for public consultation, we had different levels. We had levels up to 8, and that was causing problem. We wanted to have synchronization with the rest of the disciplines of education, and that's the reason why we have recast our levels for the general education also from 4.5 to 8. So irrespective of which disciplines the students are studying, whether it is science, humanities, engineering, skills, and so on, all of them will fall into one synchronized, integrated higher education qualification framework, which spans from 4.5 to 8. And at each level, this qualification framework also mentions how many number of credits the students are required to obtain. And this is important because this will help the students to move from one institution to the other institution, to move from one discipline to the other discipline. At level 4.5, the student is expected to get a minimum of 40 credits. And when the student moves to level 5, the student has to have a total number of 80 credits. So at 4.5, 40 credits, and at level 5, an additional 40 credits, so that the student has 80 total credits, earned credits. And similarly, when the student enters level 5.5, either to do a 3 years bachelor's degree or a 3 years Bachelor of Vocation program, either 3 years or 6 semesters program, they should have acquired a total of 120 credits. And then when the student moves on to the 4th year bachelor's degree, the students would have acquired additional 40 credits, making the basket of the student full of 160 credits. So now the student has the opportunity to move to higher levels, to level 6.5, to do a 1-year master's degree. Who does the 1-year master's degree? Well, those students who have completed 4 years bachelor's degree can do 1 year's master's degree and get 40 credits, or those students who have completed 3 years bachelor's degree can do a 2 years master's degree and gain an additional 80 credits. Now the students have, we have defined level 7. Level 7 is for the master's degree in engineering and technology, whereas the master's degree at level 6.5 is in arts, commerce, science, and other disciplines. So at level 7, the student has to acquire, it's a 2 years program, 40 plus 40, 80 credits the student has to acquire in order to get the MTech program. And then we reach the level 8, which is the doctoral degree program. And here the doctoral committee or the research advisory committee will advise a minimum number of 12 credits or higher for the coursework to be completed. And then the student will write the thesis and submit the thesis. So this is the summary of the National Higher Education Qualification Framework. And as I said, this framework has been designed in consultation with AICTE and NCVET. And we hope that this synchronized and integrated qualification framework will be very, very useful in providing the flexibility, the freedom, and the opportunities for our students to be creative and innovative. I would like to stop here, and I would like to invite now Dr. Kalsi to continue the presentation. And after that, we will have Professor Punia. Dr. Kalsi, please go ahead.
Thank you, Professor Jagdish. Thank you very much. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you.
I thoroughly enjoyed the way you have introduced the subject. And I was thinking as if I am sitting in a classroom. and I actually enjoyed my IIT Delhi stint, where I was actually a student. Now I'll take this forward from where Dr. Jagdish has stopped. I am going to talk about the integration of National Higher Education Qualification Framework into the draft National Credit Framework, which encompasses the school education, the higher education, and the vocational education. Now, this framework has been jointly developed by UGC, AICT, NCVT, NCRT, CBSE, and iOS under the Ministry of School Education, Higher Education, and the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. Now, this National Credit Framework is basically the manifestation of the NEP 2020. Now, this clearly integrates the academics with the vocational skills and also with the relevant experiential learning, thus making the education and skilling truly aspirational. Now, this is the point which Professor Jagdish was talking about when we say that multiple options for the students, options for digital online education, equivalence, mobility, and also the reference points of learning outcomes. So this credit framework provides for assignment, accumulation, storage, transfer, and redemption of credits. It supports a very comprehensive credit-based academic and school qualification framework, that is National Higher Education Qualification Framework as well as National Skill Qualification Framework, which also encompasses National School Qualification Framework. It also removes any distinction between general and vocational education, establishing equivalence and mobility, now within and between them, even for the purpose of assignments of the credit levels as well as the number of credits earned. The NCRF, now it caters to multidisciplinary and holistic education approach across sciences, social sciences, arts, humanities, and sports, and enables multiple entry exit options, pathways in general and vocational education. Also establishes imaginative and flexible curricular structures, enables creative combination of disciplines. It enables flexibility for the students to choose their learning trajectories and programs. For example, the student can enter into school, then go for skill education, then come back to the school education, and then go back to higher education. Similarly, from higher education, he can come back to skill education. So there are multiple pathways and multiple options for midway course correction and modification, depending upon the interest of the student, the talent of the student, etc. Then promoting internationalization of education through credit transfer provision, thus enabling true international equivalence. Now, promoting extensive use of technology in teaching, learning, vocational education, and training is also possible while we are getting into the national credit framework. This will remove the language barriers, and this will remove the barriers for the Divyangs and increase the access which they'll get. Now, let us explain it for a moment. Now, if I talk about all dimensions of learning, all types of learning, then the credit assignments can be given for the academic qualifications, for the skill qualifications, as well as for the experiential learning. So X is academic access, which starts with school education right from level 1 to level 4, that is school level, and then up to PhD, as Professor Jagdish beautifully explained. And with every level after level 2, with every year, there is an increase of 0.5, and that's how you reach level 8. Similarly, for skill education, you start with level 1 and you go up to level 8. And from 1 to 4, it is primarily for school education, for 8th, for 10th grade, for 12th grade. And from 4 above, it is for UG, PG, and PhD students, and also with students from 12th grade with experience, sufficient experience. Again, the equivalence has been defined in different ways. For example, if a student who has done 12th class and who has done a diploma after 10th, So after third year of diploma, he would be sort of equivalent to the first year of the Bachelor of Engineering. But for actually getting that equivalence, he may have to go through some sort of additional credits or assignment or assessment. So that will have to be done. Similarly, for any equivalence between skilling and academic equivalence, there has to be some additional qualification, some additional credits, and those credits will have to be assessed. Only then there will be the equivalence which will be established. To explain the components of learning, the learning hours, etc. So every year of education will be considered as 1200 hours per year across school education, higher education, and vocational education, as well as skilling. Also the experiential learning. The 1200 hours of learning will be 40 credits. That means 20 credits per semester. So only for the purpose of calculation of the NCRF credits, it is 30 hours per credit. Of course, the individual regulators would decide on how they will actually design their programs for a particular class. For example, in engineering, I know that 15 hours of lectures is 1 credit and 30 hours of practical is 1 credit and 40 hours of experiential learning is 1 credit. So that will go on, but for the purpose of calculation of the credits for NCRF purpose, it is 30 hours per credit. And most importantly, the assessment is a mandatory component for earning any credits. And the learning hours shall include all kinds of learning, subject to assessment, of course, which will have classroom teaching learning, laboratory work, innovation labs, projects, assignments, tutorials, sports and games, physical activities, performing arts, including music, handicraft work, bagless days. Similarly, all kinds of examination, class test, quiz, assessment. That will be part of the learning. And then vocational education, training, skilling, including the minor projects and the major projects which you do for such skilling. And very importantly, the internship, the apprenticeship, the on-the-job training, and the experiential learning. They will also form part and parcel of the credit system. Project work, internship, again 30 hours per credit. And then of course, one can take additional credits, take additional programs. For example, UGC allows parallelly 2 courses. Similarly, NCVT allows more than 1 program parallelly. So they will be relevant weighted for experiential learning and proficiency, of course, subject to assessment. That will be counted towards the total credit points. There is a difference between credit and credit points. I'll come to that a little later. So credits are also for online and blended learning, subject to assessment. This will expand open and distance learning options. And this blended learning will, of course, promote flexibility, efficiency, extensive review of technology, teaching, learning, in skilling, while enhancing the productivity, and making the academic and vocational education available in all Indian languages will increase the access to education by more than 90% of the non-English medium students. Similarly, the academic bank of credit will be expanded to include school education as well as technical education and vocational education skilling. Also, it will include apprenticeship, internship, etc. It already has the higher education credits as part of this bank. And there will be total portability of these credits. Similarly, validity and expiry, all those rules will be made by the concerned regulators. So last thing I would like to just show you this table. I don't know, I'll try and make it full screen, because as soon as you make it full screen, the screen doesn't move. But since this is my last slide, I can take that. Can you see it full screen now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Now, if you see it, right from preschool, it goes up to class 2, which is 5 years of foundational skills, 800 hours per year. Then for 3 years, it is preparatory, that is class 3, class 4, and class 5. Now, class 5, you attain the National Credit Framework Level 1. And then up to middle, again, you have learning of 1200 hours of per year up to class 8, and you achieve level 2. And thereafter, it's 1200 hours per year. And for every year, you achieve a level which is higher by 0.5 every year. So 9th is 2.5, 3 is, class 10 is 3, class 12 is 4, so on and so forth. As Professor Jagdish very clearly explained, UG first year is 4.5, UG second year is 5.5, 5, UG third year is 5.5, UG fourth year is 6, or you also call it PG first year if it is a 3-year degree program, and then UG, then PG second year is 6.5, and if it is an engineering program, then this is PG first year engineering 6.5, and PG second year engineering is 7, and PhD is 8. And if you multiply this credit framework level with the credits earned, now if you see up to class 5, the number of credits earned are less, that is 27 and 33 per year, because the number of hours spent in learning is less. So multiply the NCRF level with the credit earned, you get credit points. And with every year, you keep on increasing the credit points. And whatever difference you see in the colors, now those are the assessment bands. That means within that assessment band, you can accumulate the credits. That means credits can be accumulated from 9th and 10th, 11th and 12th. Now, if you cannot use these credits for the higher level, however, the higher level credits can be used for lower level. That is there. So within the credit bands, the credits can be added, and then these can be redeemed for any certificate, any diploma, any degree program, and so on. So that is what it is. So we have already we are ready with our draft report, and very soon 3 of us we will share the draft report with our stakeholders and get your inputs, and based on those inputs we will then modify it and then put it for public consultation. So that's all I wanted to convey. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Kalsi. You know, Dr. Kalsi is a highly experienced person in Indian administrative service. But another commonality between both of us is that both of us are IITians. Thank you, Dr. Kalsi, for a very comprehensive presentation. Now we will move on to Professor Punia, who is Vice Chairman, AICTE.
Good morning, sir. Respected Dr. Jagdish Kumarji, Chairman UGC, Professor Kalsi, please add in that team, sir. To me also, IIT Delhi team. I did my MTech and PhD from IIT Delhi, so probably all three we are from the same basket. So thank you very much, sir, and wonderful work it has been done by NCVT, School Education, UGC, AICTE, Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. So it's a common effort, and probably it will be giving a real fruit, which is the expectation of the National Education Policy. Our technical education system, when we are saying technical education, where engineering, management, architecture, arts, crafts, design, it's a huge education system. Only in engineering and technology, every year we are producing around 1 million engineering graduates. So it's a huge number. But their acceptance in the society, their acceptance in the industry, that is foremost for everyone. The biggest challenge was, particularly in higher education, which is after class 12, the challenge was for 4 years. The degree was for 4 years. One student has entered into that degree. There were only 2 options. One option with the success of degree if he is having, means certificate of success if it is having, then he can exit, or if he is failing, then only he can exit. Otherwise, in between, there were no options. This framework which it has been created, every level it is option to exit. And it is not exiting from education, it is, say, lifelong learning. From education, if he is coming out, it is taking some skilling. Again, after some maturity, some level of skilling in his hand, again is coming back in education. So every level is basically, it's a continuous level of learning. In engineering education, which is very large, I'm saying, and roughly 10,000 institutes in all sort of technical education which we are having in the country. The comparison, if you are doing with medical education and engineering education, in medical education, every medical college is having a hospital in its vicinity. It is part of that education. Means morning time students are attending their academic classes, evening they are treating the patients. So their hands-on part, practical part, skilling part, and they are treating the latest diseases which is there. So if today someone is treating this coronavirus, not the 30 years back which disease was. So that advantage in hospitals with medical education, it was there, and that's why probably our doctors, the acceptance of our doctors even across the globe, probably it was better than our engineering graduates. But this mechanism which it has been created, in that mechanism, every level they'll be entering into industries. Industries means it is just like hospital, and from there the skilling part, the ground level reality, the team building abilities, the ability to deliver, the time management, communication skills, everything they learn. So when this large number of students were coming out into the market, many times we were discussing with industries that please tell us what are the shortcomings in that 4-year program or integrated 5-year program, or with 2 years PG program also, what are the shortcomings? Immediately they were saying that fundamentals of these students are weak, basic concepts are weak. And reason for that one, because inside the classes we were teaching theoretical component of the education we were treating, so they were not getting any proof of those concepts or the fundamentals which they have learned. So the weighting of those concepts, it is basically inside the industry. So their input is foremost while we were designing this entry-exit mechanism. And second, they were saying that they are not knowing the latest technologies which is in the market, even practical skills. Industries were saying practically your students are weak, even your civil engineering students or mechanical engineering students, they are unable to read engineering drawings. So because we were unable to correlate our the knowledge which we were imparting with the practical applications of that knowledge, or comprehending the problems, or analyzing the problems, or synthesizing the problems, we were unable to connect even the analytical abilities of the student, solving the problems, critical thinking, means high order thinking skills. In many areas, industries were giving the suggestions, and same time they were saying the attitude of the students. They were saying students are becoming highly materialistic. Probably they are giving lot of fee for the purpose of entering into professional education. So they were giving higher fees and fulfilling those requirements of the family through that fee which they have paid. Probably they were becoming the materialistic also on the commitments of the student, stability into an organization. Many suggestions industries were giving. And finally, they were saying that we need people like Mahendra Singh Dhoni, the former captain of India team. We were asking what is the beauty of Mahendra Singh Dhoni. They were saying when Mahendra Singh Dhoni is holding a bat, when core competencies are being tested, he is a very strong batsman. Even when he's behind the wickets, he is taking very strong catches. So his core competencies are very strong. And even in other areas also, when team building capabilities or the team leadership capabilities are concerned, he's a very strong leader. Even when he's coming in front of media, he's a very good orator. When question of modeling is coming, he's a very good model. Even his moral value, many times when he's committing mistake, empire even it has not raised the finger before that when he used to go out from the ground. So his moral value. So they were saying all sort of development into the personality of the students we need. Now the inputs which industries were giving, and after level 12.5, as Professor Jagdish Kumarji was saying, after 12.5, first year of engineering, after completion of that one, if he is willing to go out, certainly whatever shortcomings are there, whatever things he has not learned, he'll be learning on the ground. 2 years in the industry, he can work and he can come back. So the value addition which is there, or the flexibility which is there, it will be very large. And even probably the industries, that pressure that I'll be getting job or not, because job already it has been ascertained. Industry, it has already been tested to that strength. So that pressure also will go. And many inputs which industries were saying that we need, the strength should be able to present, they should be innovative, their entrepreneurship skills, their team building ability, their confidence, their ICT skills, all sort of exposure which was not available inside the classes. Probably that exposure will be available with the students, and that sort of autonomy which it has been provided, it is being given. In technical education, just when I'm comparing the UGC institutes and the institutes which are being regulated by AICT, there is big difference. So after class 12, UGC is entertaining, we are entertaining also after class 12, but even in school education, we are reaching up to class 8. So 4 years, the higher education, in higher education, the learning which they are having, even in school education at the class 8, where as Kalsi is saying, it is level 2. So class 5th is saying level 1, 8th class is level 2. From class 8, students can dream to go into ITI, where skilling part is more stronger. So for 2 years, when they are doing that skilling component, after 1 year, they can have 9th certificate also, or skill of certificate of some vocation. After class 10th means 2 years, he can get 10th certificate or certificate of that ITI, 2 years ITI certificate after class 8 it can have. And those ITI students are entering into polytechnic education. Polytechnic education is being regulated by us. So for us, that school education is also very important, the flexibility which is being given. After 10th class, he can do 3 years polytechnic also. So if 1 year he is doing 11th class certificate, he can get, or if 2 years if he is doing, then 12th class certificate now he can get, or ITI certificate after class 12th, class 10, that also he can get. And 3 years diploma is, if he is doing, that is becoming level 12.5, it is undergraduate certificate he'll be able to get. So in integration of the school education and higher education, in real sense it is being done. After 3 years of class 10th education, directly students can enter into second year of engineering education. But every year, everywhere, as Dr. Jagdish Marji was saying, that learning outcomes are important, the competencies are important. It is in terms of graduate outcomes. Those outcomes may be undergraduate certificate outcomes or undergraduate diploma outcomes. Those outcomes are most important. And important part is whatever the basic knowledge which they are having related to engineering and technology, how they can apply that knowledge. With that knowledge, how they can analyze the problems, how they can find out the solution, how they can create the products, and not only creating the products, how can do the exhaustive investigations on those problems, and what sort of ICT tools they are able to have. So it is core competencies. They should be technically sound. Whatever the level they are exiting, they should be technically sound. And second one, they should be professionally competent and socially relevant. So 3 dimensions of a graduate, that is technically they should be sound, second one professionally they should be competent, and third one socially they should be relevant. When socially I'm saying relevant, so what they are able to do for the family, what they are able to do for community, what they are able to do for society, and even across the globe what they are able to do. So they connect to environment, the society, the moral values, the ethics, team building ability, all sort of attributes which graduates are supposed to have. Those attributes will be tested at the end of every exit where they are planning to come. And the levels already it has been defined, it has been explained. So after class 8, 2 years the ITI they can have, 9 certificate they can have. So 8th I'm saying it is level 2. 1 year ITI if they are doing after class 8, then it is 2.5. 2 years ITI if they are doing, then it is class 3, even it is class 10 certificate they can have. Then 1 year after class 10 in polytechnic if they are having level 3.5 and certificate of vocation, the particular vocation in which they are studying, that certificate they can have, and some additional skills which they are having. Even with class 10th also they are moving vertically also to class 11. So that level of movement of the students even up to level 4. So after the 10th is level 3, the first year diploma is 3.5, second year diploma is 4, and 4 they can have the certificate of 12 or ITI certificate they can have. And after this one, if they are entering into higher education, they'll be having after 10th, 3 years experience they are having, they'll be having in their hand UG certificate equivalent to after 12th. If someone is doing 1 year engineering, they'll be equivalent. So there is no difference between that skill education which has been imparted through Polytechnic or students directly after class 12 who have entered into the engineering education. It is 7. It is same. So and 2 years of after class 12 or after UG certificate 1 year, they'll be having UG diploma now, and 3 years after 12th, if 3 years education they are doing, then it is Bachelor of Vocational Education. So after diploma, 2 years education, after class 12, 3 years education, they'll be eligible for Bachelor of Vocational Education. And if it is 4 years continuously they are doing or exiting and coming back, if it is continuously being done at level 6, they can have BTech degree, 4-year BTech degree. But at every level, the learning outcomes which I'm specified here in the table, that learning outcomes they like to achieve. So quality of the education, it has to be ensured. At level 6.5, if someone is exiting, it is Master of Vocational Education or postgraduate diploma in engineering. After 2 years of BTech program, it is master's degree. It is at level 7, and finally PhD at level 8. So with the help of this ladder, I also projected this one. BVOC is 5.5. Our ITI is level 4. 10th is level 3. PG certificate, it is 6.5. MTech is 7. PhD is 8. But they'll be exiting. Vertically they can move, or horizontally they can come out. Some skills they can take, and they can come back into the conventional education which we are having at every level. Our suggestion will be the universities will have to find out if any skill gaps are there corresponding to class 10th or corresponding to class 12th or corresponding to any level where certificate are being given. They can decide some bridge courses also. Time is not limited and not limit. The limit is the learning outcomes, what exactly they are able to achieve. So the duration of the course is not important. Important is outcomes and what exactly they are able to do on the ground. Thank you very much. Hope our this meeting which we are having with Vice-Chancellors, many more suggestions will be coming, and probably at some level we'll be able to improve this mechanism also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Punia. So that brings us to the conclusion of the presentations. But however, we would like to take any questions if any of our colleagues who have joined in this Zoom program. There are also several others who are watching this program, and I have just received a question from one of those participants. The question says that the multi-entry, multi-exit scheme is very good for the students, but from the perspective of the higher educational institution, let's say in second year, if a lot of students from other university want to come and join in my university, won't that cause a lot of problems in terms of the infrastructural issues and teaching commitments for my students and so on? And there is another question which says that, well, if there is a multi-exit scheme, what will happen if a lot of students drop out using this multi-exit scheme? Both are valid questions. Let me address the second question first. Well, just because we have provided the option for the students to exit, it's very, very unlikely to assume that a large number of students will exit from the programs. These kind of flexibilities are created to enable the students to actually continue in their education. For example, after first year of my education, if there is a financial problem, or if there is a health problem, or if there is some family issue, I need to take a break of 1 year. In the existing system, there is no way the student can do. He will be thrown out of the educational system. But with the multi-entry, multi-exits option that is available to the students, if students have any such unexpected reasons for which they have to break their education, they can make use of this. And once the situation improves, or once they acquire some additional knowledge that they wanted to acquire in the middle of their degree program, they can acquire that and come back. So it's very unlikely that this provision will be misused by these students. And the first question, what in the second year of my program, because my program is very popular, a lot of students from a neighboring university want to come and join here because they have acquired the required credits in the first year of the undergraduate program in their respective university. Well, again, this provision only provides them eligibility to join in your university. Whether you will admit them or not depends on, for example, the vacancies that are available in the second year or third year of a given program in the university. I know from my personal experience in JNU that at the end of the first year, for various reasons, students drop out from their first year program. And when we go to the second year level, many such vacancies exist. Now, this multi-entry, multi-exit option actually provides an opportunity for you to design your admission process so that those students who are willing to come from neighboring universities or from faraway universities to come to your university, you can fill up these vacancies without really burdening your infrastructural requirements and other teaching commitments. So I thought I will make this point clear to you. This is a consultative process. And if you have any questions, you can raise them here. You can raise your hand and put your question, or you wish to write to us separately later, you can always write to us to UGC or AICTE or Dr. Kalsi, and we will definitely consider your inputs. Even if you don't have any question, you have a comment to make, please raise your hand. I will unmute you. Yes, Professor Corey, could you please unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you, sir, for wonderful both the talks and the way you apprise the different levels and other things. And to complete the degree, any of the undergraduate or postgraduate or even the double of the duration is already there in the UGC. And it is a good move that the students can go the exit and earn the credits and come back. That is a very good initiative. So how do you?
There's an audio problem. Let's wait for him.
And again, he will come back. That provision is already there. But can he acquire some other credits and that will be considered for, again, award of the degree? That will be my...
Professor Corey, UGC has now given the option to the students to acquire 2 degrees simultaneously also.
Yes.
So therefore, they can always earn the credits, put it in the ABC, and as they get accumulated and reach the required level, then they can either get certificate or diploma and ultimately a degree. That's a possibility.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Right. Professor Anupamaji, Annapurnaji.
Yeah, it was a very fantastic presentation by both the speakers and including the chairman. And it cleared many of the things which are actually difficult to understand, but they made it so easy to understand it. And the whole classification of grades and degrees, that was very useful for us. And everything is based on learning outcomes that became very clear. But to me, I think, although it is very good, but this is very ambitious program, very ambitious, and everything will depend on its implementation, which is the onus is on every stakeholder like us. I also feel that the presentation which were shown were from the point of view of science, engineering. So what about the humanities and social science? Because there is in both of the slides, very interesting slides, but there was no mention of humanities and social science, that how to go ahead. And for one more question, which I would like to ask you for clarification only, and that is that there are universities like ours, that is an affiliating university. We are in the main campus of the university, we'll take students through CUET. But the state government has, but the colleges which are affiliated to us, they are not admitting the students through CUET. So there would be a difference. And how their credits will be accumulated, because they are following different kind of pattern. In one state, for 1 degree, there are 2 kind of parameters. And I think that is going to create immense problem in future. So I would like to know from the experts about that how to resolve this problem, because this has already started. They are already demanding that we need our new syllabus immediately, because we have to start the session from 15th of July. So this is a kind of very difficult situation which we are facing. So I would expect all of you to address my concern. Thank you so much.
Right. Annapunaji, you hit the nail on its head. All these schemes and reforms that we are bringing in, ultimately, they have to see the light of the day on the ground. And that is possible only when leaders like you implement them by sensitizing the faculty and students back home. And as far as the National Higher Education Qualification Framework that all 3 of us have discussed, it doesn't distinguish between social sciences, humanities, science, engineering, and so on. For example, the levels that I have described from level 4.5 to 8, when I say a 3 years degree program, which consists of level 4.5, 5, and 5.5, I'm actually referring to BA, BSc, BCom, and such programs, the general educational programs. And similarly, when I say that level 6, I'm referring to the 4-year undergraduate program that we are planning to launch across the country as part of NEP. And that could be in any domain, social sciences, humanities, science, in any other discipline. So that is point 1. And point 2, you see, different state governments may follow different kinds of admission procedures. We hope that in the coming years, almost every university will follow CUET, and we will have one single national entrance examination. In fact, why should we have even joint entrance examination for engineering? The same CUET can be used so that students are not forced to write JEE mains and also CUET separately. So these are the things that we need to look at. And we are requesting, we are encouraging as many universities as possible to become partners in the ABC. Once they become partners in ABC, the credits, the respective credits can then be stored in ABC so that the students' equivalence can be found out. If there are any equivalence issues, recently UGC has formed a committee to work out the equivalence issues, not just only between foreign degrees and Indian degrees, within India itself. There are a lot of equivalence issues, and we will be looking into that. Right, and we have Professor S.P. Bansal. Professor Kalsi, would you like to add anything to that? Dr. Kalsi?
Yeah. What
Yes.
I was saying, that we have worked out very detailed tables wherein we have taken into account all kinds of subjects, whether this is science or arts or commerce or economics. No, all areas have been taken into account, and there is no distinction between one area from the other area. They have been given the same level of national credit level and same number of credits per years of learning. So we are not distinguishing between any one of them. AICT just gave an example of the engineering disciplines. I avoided those tables. I could have shown those tables. However, I can share those tables whenever you want. Thank you.
Right. Professor Bansal?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. In fact, I would like to congratulate you for taking so many initiatives for introducing NEP in all the universities. My university has taken a lead role for introducing NEP from the session 21-22. But really, sir, we have faced a lot of problems. So the first problem which we have faced really is that when we have prepared our syllabuses, 12 common papers, which we have really prepared syllabus at our own level. And out of those 12, For example, Lok Vidya, for example, for the value education and so on, whatever the suggestions were given by the UGC, we have developed our own syllabus. My first suggestion is that we cannot prepare these syllabuses at the level of University Grants Commission so that we can have some kind of uniformity. And the second, whatever the problem we are facing, that our teachers are not ready to teach those papers. This is the first problem which we are facing. And the second problem is that when we have registered ourselves in ABC, now there is a flexibility on the part of the university, whether the university can consider for the credit transfer or not. This is the flexibility is given to the university. For example, this is in between the A plus university or second one is the B plus university. So for that matter, A plus university can refuse to B plus university to give the credit transfer facility. This is the second problem which I would like to emphasize, because and the third is that of course you have detailed that of course any NHEQF this deals with the level 5 to 10, and at the same time NSQF which deal with the 4.5 to 8. Now, what the problem at the moment we are facing is the proper synchronization in between two, that is the NHEQF and NSQF. Now, although since University Grants Commission draft NHEQF has level from 5 to 10, as explained by you also, that it I am very much hopeful that it may not create an operational problem from the vertical and horizontal mobility of learning by prescribing the entry requirement for each qualification, which is prerequisite for lateral entry as well as validation for the prior learning outcome achieved. Although you have explained, but there is a little confusion in this regard. So thank you very much, sir.
Right. No, very briefly about the curriculum development for several courses. Professor Bansal, each educational institute is an autonomous body. It has its own intellectual resources. It is up to them to decide what should be the curriculum in a given course. If they lack in terms of the intellectual resources, they can always collaborate with other institutions across the country, take their experts also in your committee, and then formulate your syllabus. If there are specialized courses, such as yoga, for example, UGC came up with some kind of a template for this syllabus, because not all universities are experts. And also, you see there is a lot of diversity in, let's say, a university in the northeastern state, they want to offer an elective course in bamboo technology. Right? It is they who can actually design a course because they are experienced in that technology. So it is left to the universities. And with regard to some of the teething problems that we may have initially, I'm sure with better understanding of this qualification framework, many of these teething problems will be resolved. And like this, we can meet once in a while. And if there are any specific problems, we can definitely discuss and resolve them.
Can I add
yes,
something to this?
Please go ahead. Yeah.
See, a large number of courses have been designed by various sector skill councils who are the industry bodies in those particular areas, especially in the area of future skilling. So all these courses, all these qualifications are for particular level, including levels such as bachelor's or master's or even PhD. Now, you can adopt these qualifications from the NQR, that is the National Qualification Register of NCVT website, and these can be offered jointly by you and that particular sector skill council, because the industry experts will have to come and teach those courses, because there are no teachers available for those futuristic courses. So that could be made available. You can sign MOUs with various sector skill councils, and I can organize a meeting between the vice-chancellors and the sector skill councils, and even share with you this list of futuristic courses. Thank you.
Okay, right. Any other questions? Professor Najma Akhtar, could you please unmute yourself?
Thank you for a very illustrated and a very enlightening session, Professor Jagadish, Dr. Punya, and Dr. Kalsi. All of you gave us for the first time this type of understanding, and now this has to be taken to my teachers and to the students also to make them understand. And what we need is they cannot be keep on coming to such gatherings like today's. So we need a list of experts who we can invite and who can spend a half a day or full day with us listening, where our teachers can be asking directly questions from them, because this is quite a bit of change which is coming in from what we have been doing and what we are expected to do in the coming years maybe. So a list of experts who can clarify the doubts of different universities is needed.
Right. That's a good suggestion. In fact, I would like to invite some of you to become experts in this. The NHEQF document, the draft was put up earlier, and the final draft will be released soon. It's a very good handout of about 60-70 pages. It very clearly explains everything, and we can share those documents. And I would like some of you to become experts, point one. And point two, this entire session is being live streamed on our social media platforms, and it will be available for your faculty and students at a later time to come and watch and understand the nuances of this higher education qualification framework. Right. Professor Dubey, could you please go ahead?
Thank you, sir. Excellent presentations by all the three speakers, and a lot of efforts have been put in to develop a comprehensive framework, and it will facilitate not only from social sciences, but for movement of students from sciences stream to even engineering streams also, and across the different streams. This will facilitate. Earlier, as Professor Bansal pointed out, earlier there was confusion that where PhD level was at 10, level 10, but now as you presented today, it has been equated all together. So whether it is science stream or engineering stream, so it has been taken a comprehensive approach. So it will be beneficial for the students for mobility, and it will be beneficial for all of us in designing our curriculum also. And as Professor Bansal was pointing out about the designing of the curriculum, and you also rightly pointed out that it depends on the expertise of the teachers in different universities. And likewise, various universities, they have framed their courses related to holistic education courses, various multidisciplinary courses also, but fitting into this framework that has to be done, and we are doing that. So that was just my comment.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you. Right. I think more or less everybody has asked questions, and I'm just looking at the screen if there are any further questions. So it is 12:38. We have spent more than an hour. It's time for us to conclude. I would like to thank all my dear colleagues who have joined this platform and asked questions and made suggestions. And I would like to thank Dr. Kalsi and Dr. Punia also. Of course, we are working together in this consultative process. Until we meet again, thank you very much. Goodbye.